What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast, Aggro and BaRRaCCuDDa, as per usual. No guest this time around. A little bit of a downtime here, Barry. SCC is getting started pretty soon. I think we're gonna try and have some SCC people on. At least that's my game plan.
Ooh.
SPL starts up soon. So a lot on the horizon right now.
Wait, who qualified for SEC? I don't think I watched any of the games. Or wait, what was the stuff on the weekends for recently?
That was SCC. That was SEC qualifiers.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like a round robin thing?
Yes.
Okay.
It was like 16 or 18. I don't know, dude. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't have to cast it, so I didn't pay attention. Like that's the way it's got to be, man. I really only paid more attention to NA because I know those players a little bit better. I know Sino's team qualified, Meerkat's team qualified,
the usuals.
Elion's team qualified, Andy's team qualified.
Nice.
And then I forget the other people. So yeah, I think there was like one. I know in EU there was a bit of a controversy because it was group play. They talked about doing a strategy where it was like, we're gonna get the best teams all in the group because only 2 teams can qualify to 4 out of each group. So one team, like the top seed in each group, got to pick the teams in their group. You kind of like drafted them. Oh. And one team was like, "Oh, we're gonna screw over a good team," so they pick all good team, or they pick 2 other really good teams, hoping to screw one out, and then they lost and then didn't qualify to SCC and got roasted in EU. And I'm here for that.
Oh, that's embarrassing. I did not know that happened.
Yeah, no, it was. I should really, maybe. That
sounds like good content.
Yeah, maybe Meerkat can come in. Maybe I ask Meerkat for the story real quick, and we can report. Can we bring in? Do you think that having Meerkat as a like reporter for the show because Meerkat, like, he's got his hands in all the dirty business. You know what I mean? Like, he knows everything that's going on. He's like the black market dealer of. He's the underground of Smite information, and I would love to have a little like sound, like I press a button on my board, Meerkat's little face pops up, and he just like pops in the call real quick, and he's like, "Hey guys, hearing reports that Pagon is absolutely slamming another ranked game, but this time on a brand new Smurf," and like that's our weekly Meerkat report.
I didn't know where you were going with that. If it was like a real news reporter, or if it was more of a like drug underlord reporter.
Yes, much more. Well, drugs are bad. Let's get that clear, of course.
True, agreed.
But underworld reporter is the right way to look at it.
That makes sense. I mean,
chat, we've lost Barry, and it's not a great thing for him. It's not a great still for him either.
I would be all for it as long as he does not be
He's not back?
Hello?
Hello? What's going on? Are we good? Are we good?
Hello?
Uh-oh. It's so desynced now.
I see my face on the stream.
Okay, we don't have any tech issues for once, and so Bear's internet just explodes. Like, that's all there is to it.
I'm DMing Comcast again right now.
Okay, all right. Well, Comcast undefeated in that sense, but it looks like you're back here is a little bit desynced, and everyone's just got to deal with that. So nothing.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Hold that L. Hold that L, chat.
Bro, okay, I don't know if I told you, but I upgraded my internet speeds, and now I DC every like 15 or 20 minutes for like 5 seconds.
Do you think this is information I could have used before we went live? Do you think there's any chance that would have been good for me to know?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is a real professional production by me.
Well, no doubt. I mean, we've been knowing that's what we bring here on the Backliners.
Look, I was just hoping it wouldn't happen, okay?
Wow.
And then 3 minutes into the show, it happens.
Okay. Well, hopefully that's the last time it happens.
I'm DMing Comcast constantly trying to get this fixed, and no one that's had Comcast ever has had internet issues. So this is a brand new thing for me.
And they must be shocked. They're like, "What?
Yeah.
A customer is having problems with our service?"
I
No
I mean, it's
way.
100% up. Like, they literally no downtime ever.
Right.
So I'm as shocked as they are that my internet keeps going down. It's
What?
so weird.
The one they only have one customer service person, and they like just play games on their Nintendo Switch all day. They've got nothing to do because Comcast service is so perfect. They're like, oh my god, what's going on? Like,
the building's on fire.
What?
It's not working.
Yeah.
Very unlucky. I literally doubled my speeds, and then I just have this issue now. I don't know what to do. And they're saying that it's fine on their end, and the signal looks perfect, and they're asking me to plug my PC directly into my modem now, and I'm just like,
good thought.
It's not that. It's not my router.
I will say one time I called my ISP, very angry that the internet was down and it like wasn't working, and they were like, all right, well, we have to ask you to like unplug it and plug it back in from the wall. And I was like, fine, but that's definitely not it. And then I went to unplug it, and it was a little bit loose, and then I plugged it back in and it turned on, and I was like, well played. Well,
did you lie?
Nope. Nope.
You admitted that?
I said, I guess it must have gotten bumped. I'm sorry I didn't try this beforehand. And I held that L. A moment of deep shame that I am now admitting live on the podcast. That was...
I would have lied 100% in that situation.
Very unlucky for me. That's
God, that is painful. Say. Yeah, I would have hung up out of shame. Whoops, it went down. I don't know.
They would have known. They would have known. You know, I like to think that they at least respected me for being honest, but they probably they shouldn't respect me for any reason. That's no doubt about that.
I lost a little respect for you.
Okay, that's very fair. I suppose. I'm glad to hear.
Just a little unlucky.
just a little bit unlucky, I'd say. All right, let's talk about patch 8.3, because that's the newest thing to Smite. Tiamat has been in Smite for a little bit. We didn't really go over her kit.
And this is the competitive patch, right? Like the one we'll be playing on? No. Or like the big patch, right?
I believe 8.4.
Is there a bigger patch?
I think 8.4 is what you guys start on, but I'm not sure. It'll be, yeah, because basically, is it 2 weeks or a month? I don't know, dude. Who knows? Time is irrelevant. It's all a circle.
Sure.
Do you want to go over Tiamat first? Or do you want to go over the 8.3 patch notes?
We'll go over Tiamat first, because it'll be a learning experience for me as well, because she has so many buttons and so many creatures, you know. And she's OP.
Okay, so let's start there, because I got a little heated on Twitter this week.
Oh, wow. Shocker.
Shocker, right. Because Wolfie or Wilfie, the EU Wolfie, because Wolfie is Wolfie 2032. Wilfie is EU Wilfie. Like, that's how it works.
Okay.
Wilfie went out on Twitter and said that he thinks that Tiamat is the best god ever released in Smite's history.
Wow.
And that's wrong. I'm not even. I'm not entertaining it. I won't. It's an.
Is this coming as a mid laner's opinion, or is this coming as
an objective thought experiment? It is absolutely. It's indefensible. It's an indefensible.
Is it even in the argument, or is it just?
I don't even think she's top 10. I don't even think she's top 10. She is really good. I do think that she's really strong. I think that she should get nerfed, and we'll go over the things that I think should be adjusted for her. But it is not close.
Is this really strong on is really strong on Conquest or all maps, or what?
I would very much guess that she is stronger in Conquest than in other modes, because I think a lot of what makes her strong is her lane push with the serpents,
the split pushing and all that.
Correct. And that is not important anywhere else. And I'm yeah, just like that just doesn't matter anywhere else.
Put him down in Clash or Siege.
Yeah, that's like, all right, here I go to clear the minions. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it got me riled up, man. I was thinking, like, you've been playing Smite for a long time. I wasn't playing whenever Guan was released. I don't know if you were. Do you remember release Guan?
I don't, in a way of it being OP, if that makes sense. Like, back then, I wouldn't know, like, anything about Smite.
Sure.
So I don't think I have a good argument for that. But Bologna, I think, was really OP. Honestly, dude, my memory on, like, the super OP releases is just, like, deleted.
Really?
Like, yeah, after playing for so long.
I feel like I've got pretty decent recollection of a lot of the really OP releases. And it's easy because we talked about it last week with Ajax. Season 2 by far the craziest season for God releases ever. I
don't even remember the gods that were released in season 2.
Okay, here, let's refresh your memory. We'll start with the ones that you should know. Chiron. Do you remember how busted Chiron was on release? His one like crippled him on deploy before it blew up, so you couldn't move out of it. He was faster in his ultimate instead of slower. His 2 did like insane damage, and his heal was insanely broken. Like his passive, his passive heal was really, really strong.
I don't remember Chiron heal ever doing anything literally ever.
I think that was one of the first things that got nerfed on him. I think they removed.
Honestly, they should bring that back.
They did. That was something.
And it's still this week.
When was the last time you played Chiron? It was buffed.
It's still awful, man. That character's terrible.
No, bro. Chiron's good. Everyone else is a hater.
The dash sucks. Your dash gets interrupted by literally everything in the game.
Is his dash knock-up immune?
No.
What if his dash was knock-up immune?
You're a charging horse that gets interrupted by anything. If someone spits on you, you're interrupted.
Chiron.
Oh, you're not about it.
Knock-up immune.
Honestly, that would be
check
a
for
really
that in patch
nice
notes
change.
in a couple weeks. I'm mostly trolling, but I am going to suggest it. I'm not kidding. That's.
I mean, halfway serious. Like Chiron does need a buff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, he just loses to the current front lines in the game, in my opinion. Unless you really need the cleanse in your team comp, I think there's just better hunters.
Yeah, I think Chiron probably better in mid, but overall still very underrated. That ult does so much damage late game, and it's unpeelable damage. Like, you can't body block it, you can't do anything about it, and especially
you can Aegis it, you can dodge it. You know, if you're halfway down a team fight, you know, hitting those shots are kind of difficult.
Well, sure, but you're hoping that you're hoping, right, that your solo laner is making space for you, and if you're having to juke like Osiris, you're not worried about like timing your Aegis for the Chiron ult. You can't even see it half the time. It's like in the middle of a chaotic team
you're
fight.
telling me you're playing in the middle of a team fight is to Chiron ult down the whole team fight.
If I can, yeah, from like behind a wall or something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Keep going.
Okay, listen. He's got good. Okay, now it's a Chiron argument, and I'm getting into it. All right, I'm a little riled up right away.
All right, man.
He's got good. Okay, he is pretty good at peeling for his mage. If you're playing with a high value mage, he's got a cleanse to help peel and a knockback, and he does decent enough damage. It's not. I agree. He's not the best.
You can't say and a knockback. That's like saying Hui has a knock up.
That does matter in team fights, doesn't it?
Are you really going to be jumping to peel your mage?
Are you not, Barry? No wonder you and Ben are always arguing about stuff. Of course, you are.
My team fight is not to jump on the mage to knock up the
If you guys can insta-kill him off of it, then yeah, that's good, right? If
insta-kill a frontliner in 2021?
Or an assassin, that's a big deal.
Assassins have shifters and like 200 fist prots.
Oh, all right. Guess we shouldn't play it all, guys. I guess once we get to late game, like it's just over. That's all there is to it. Look, you peel your mage, and then you get to turn and hit the back line from really far away because that ult is super long.
Yeah. So my team fight is to throw my 1 on my mage, dash through my mage, and then ult down the whole team fight to their back line.
Sure.
Oh, well, in that case, that's OP, right?
Seems OP, right? Listen, Barry, all I'm saying is Chiron gets a bit of a bad rap. I think he can be good against certain teams, and it would be good. Yeah, chat spamming. BaRRA did dash in as Apollo to peel for Jake a couple times.
That's for Jake, not for Vin.
Okay, then dash someone off Jake.
You want me to just dash into a late game team fight?
You did on Apollo.
That's different. You get a lot of movement speed for that, and it slows the enemies.
You get a lot of power off the Chiron dash.
Okay, what about for Chiron dash? It's like a triangle dash, and he just like throws everyone behind him in like a much wider radius. Okay.
You want him to be Hecarim, is what you're telling me from League. Like you want just full on Hecarim. Okay, well that it's OP.
It's a very weak dash, and you're like a horse.
What if he was just knock-up immune in the dash, and maybe the power persisted for a couple seconds after the dash was over?
That's what I said, and no one did it. I said Chiron 3 buff needs to be a real buff instead of, why are you getting power when you're dashing?
Because you slam with the autos whenever you're doing that, man. And it feels good, like thematically.
You also can't aim.
Maybe you can't get...
when you're dashing towards the front line to peel your mage.
Dude, those 2 autos you get off during that are going to absolutely slam.
So much more damage, dude. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely slam. I agree that they should last a little bit longer.
I think like even if you're right-click canceling the dash on Chiron, it should give you the power buff for like a set amount of time.
Yeah, I think it would just be like 3 seconds after the dash is over, regardless of whether or not you complete the full animation. I think that makes sense.
I think that would make his boxing in lane way better as well, because I think he just gets outshined by like... I mean, his poke isn't really that relevant in lane either. Okay. Also, what tangent were we on, Tiamat?
Release Chiron was super busted. Release Soul was one of the best gods ever. She was so broken. Polyproc on the 2, stun on the 3, and Fatalis on the 3. The ult did 1 billion damage. Her passive was insane. Soul, one of the best. Xingqian, Bologna, Release Medusa, Khepri.
Release Medusa. The ult did a lot more damage.
The ult did 1 billion damage. The 2 did 1 billion damage and was really far range. The splash range was way further. And I think she might have had less movement speed reduction on the passive. Like, I think she was faster. Oh, yeah, one also one-shot people on Medusa.
Like the tick damage, I guess?
Yeah, you just, like, one-shot people. Yeah, Medusa release was really broken. Khepri might be the most broken. I think Khepri probably is the most OP a god has released in Smite.
I mean, he got nerfed, like, 8 times in a row or something ridiculous,
yeah, and he was still meta-defining.
Yeah.
Of recent gods, I see chat spamming Baron a lot. Baron was super good for sure. I think Tsukiyomi was probably the best god released in the last like 2 to 3 years. I would say like that's the strongest a god was on release.
And I think King Arthur on release too, right?
No, remember everyone thought Arthur was horrible. Merlin was really good.
Everyone sucked at Arthur, right?
Right.
Did he get buffed?
I don't remember if he got. I think he got some bug fixes that did help. That did become buffs, but he was considered bad immediately. Eventually, yeah, King Arthur at his peak. And I think all of this goes to illustrate the point. Tsukiyomi way stronger on release than Tiamat is. Merlin was stronger on release than Tiamat is. Arthur at his peak after the bug fixes, if I remember correctly, stronger than I think current Tiamat is. Tiamat is really good, but I think does have glaring weaknesses, and at the end of the day is not even close to the best god ever released, in my opinion. That's what I would say.
The damage mitigation feels pretty impactful to play against. In like those key situations,
yes,
it feels terrible. But outside of that, like, also there's a big difference in people that are good at her and people that are bad at her.
Yes, and she is harder, and World Champion in the chat actually brings this up. Are we sure Suka was stronger on release than Tiamat and not just way easier to play?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
The answer to that is yes. It's both. Yep. He was easier to play, and he was stronger on release. I feel pretty confident in saying that. Dude, his Kasari Gamma damage, the 2, like, oh, baby. Like, if you just triple hit someone, they were getting absolutely one-tapped. At the end of the day, I think that the things that I think that make Tiamat a little bit overtuned, in my opinion, right now are the serpents, the little minions that push the waves.
For split pushing?
For split pushing, right. And and the damage mitigation. But I don't know. I probably should have cleared this with Ajax before I said it on the podcast, but, you know, I'll ask for forgiveness instead. I will say that I did a lot of, I got a chance to playtest Tiamat a ton before she came out, and I will say that there was a lot of our testing where both the minions and the mitigation felt completely invisible and were completely worthless. And there were times where they were stronger than they are now, but I do think that is a very easy knob to turn on that god. And it's closer to feeling useless than the community probably thinks, is what I would say.
The mitigation and minions?
Correct, yeah, mitigation in particular. Okay. Like, the mitigation, for a large part of the time that I play tested her, did not feel impactful whatsoever. So, you know, and part of that, again, that was a god that took many, many reps before I actually felt like I was doing things, but and I think that that's a good thing. Like, it's fun playing a god that you're like, wow, I feel like I could have played all of these situations so much better. And then you get to do like 1 or 2 team fights in a game where you are like, yeah, I think I really played that close to optimally, and then you start to grow on that character. I think that that's fun. You know.
Do you think she's only a mid laner or solo laner as well?
I think she's only a mid laner, would be my guess. Okay. I think that she needs to build pretty much full damage in order to, because the base numbers, especially in grounded stance, are so low that the CC is like valuable, but not that crazy. I also think like the mitigation feels so swingy only whenever she's doing a lot of damage, because if she jumps down and then you're both just like pillow fighting one another, who cares about the mitigation, right? If she's not going to kill you in that window that she buys, then the mitigation isn't even that valuable. So yeah, personally, I think she's much better with damage almost entirely.
Yeah, I played against her in Assault a bit. And there's a few times where I'm like, wow, this character is completely OP. And then there was one time I had Bloodforge, and it was like level like 5 or 6 or whatever. And I attacked her for seven times and did 350, and she had no prots.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that is awful. But that was like one of my first few times ever playing against her, so I didn't actually know what was going on. I just knew that I was auto-attacking for nothing. And then playing as her, there was like you said, there was a lot of situations where I'm just like, I could have done that better, or I should have been doing this.
Yep.
And there's a lot of different directions you can take in the team fights with her, which I think from a design perspective is always a good thing. So it's not, I think Suki is like a really, I would say like boring kid, but it's like very one-dimensional. I think hers is very, I would say just complex. I like the overall design of the kit.
Yeah, I think she's super cool. I'm surprised, and you're not the first person that said that recently, that Suki is a little bit too one-dimensional, and I really disagree. I think Tsukiyomi feels really fun, and I think I do feel like I have a lot of, Tiamat is basically a triple stance switcher in a way. The ultimate is really a stance, so obviously in comparison, and you're going to have a lot less options, but I think that Tsukiyomi's play loop of like poking and then picking your spot to commit, I think is really, really fun, and does provide a lot of like skill expression. Now, jungle, like, like I said that's a mask, if I said that to mask, you'd be like, oh no, anyone could play that, like whatever. But yeah, if you're one of the best junglers in the world, you probably don't feel like it has a lot of skill expression. But I think that ending your ult on the right target and like using the iframes properly and like picking your spot properly, it's a good reinforcement and a good way for a god that has like no actual mobility as an assassin, which is a hard design concept, I think.
So actually that character is super easy, and anyone can play him and just hold W and do well.
Yeah, but sure, anyone can do like some damage, but you're gonna like you're gonna be 7 and 9 on Tsukiyomi if you don't really know what you're doing, right? Like, you're gonna get some kills, but you're gonna die for it almost every single time. A good Tsukiyomi is gonna like be much different, and that's the case for literally every god, and I understand that. But I think that I don't know, there's just like this rising sentiment that Suki is super easy all the time, and I don't really agree.
See, I will stand on my hill. You're over there on your hill. I will stand on my hill, and I will shout at you that character is super easy.
I salute you from across my hill, and then I give you the middle finger. I don't know.
I think that character is literally like one of the easiest assassins in the game.
Yeah, I just think assassin is one of the hardest classes to play properly.
Agreed.
So yeah, maybe
Hunter number 1, assassin number 2.
All right, we've already spent too much time arguing on this episode. We gotta move on. I'm gonna let that one slide because everyone who's listening or watching rolled their eyes collectively as soon as you said that. I don't need to touch on the fact. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into it anymore. That's it. You're baiting me too easily today, Barry.
I really am, dude.
I know. I'm all worked up, man. I can't help it.
I'm sorry.
I can't help it. All right, let's talk about the new items. Stone of Fall and Mail of Renewal both come in as reworked into this patch. Well, let's talk Stone of Fall first. It's 2,500 gold, 150 health, 35 magical power, and 30 of each protection, physical and magical, With the passive, whenever you hit an enemy god with a basic attack, you gain a stack of Fall's Blessing, giving you 2% damage mitigation per stack. At 3 stacks, you double the mitigation you double the damage mitigation and gain 20% crowd control reduction. This effect lasts for 10 seconds. Early thoughts on Stone of Fall?
I think weird and bad.
What do you think? What do you think would be what holds it back from being good?
I think if it was abilities and not basic attacks, I feel like it's way easier to proc, and I feel like it's not as guaranteed of mitigation as like an item like Spirit Robe, I would say.
I would agree, but Spirit Robe, in my mind, is like top 5 items in the game.
True.
I think that is broken.
I don't know how tight the solo laner and support builds are right now, if you can really fit this item in your build. I feel like the prots are low on it. It doesn't give you anything offensive. The power is kind of low as well.
Yep.
I don't see why you would ever go this over, like, I would say like a Binding or a Thieves, or maybe even like Winged or Witch. I don't know, like over Pridwin as well. I feel like there's so many good tank items that this one's just kind of like awkwardly in there. And yes. I mean, I don't play support, but
except for
I just feel like, except for Xing Tian, and I would not buy this on Xing Tian, because like when you really like
can't be auto attacking on Xing Tian.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going into a team fight, I would assume you get this item at like mid game, late game, definitely not early game.
Yeah.
But if you're going into a team fight with the idea that you need to be auto attacking to get defense, I don't know. And then also, I feel like most of the time you're overcapped on or not overcapped, but you will be overcapped with the 20% CCR proc at 3 stacks.
Yep.
Because I feel like you should just be getting tank boots and another like CCR item.
That's right. Just a reminder that you should all be buying tank boots. You should all be telling all of your friends that tank boots is the best item in the game. And we really need to get this ball rolling, as we talked about with Ajax last week, that tank boots are super busted so that we're allowed to nerf them. So again, buy tank boots. They're literally the best item in the whole game. They're OP. Please let us nerf them. Okay, continue.
So many stats on those.
Yeah.
Back to Stone of Fall.
Yep.
I just feel like it's weird to go into a team fight with the idea that you need to basic attack.
Yes,
I feel like that is the like main theme of Stone of Fall. Is just, yeah, I need to go into this team fight to auto attack.
Yeah, I think that on the vast majority of Guardians, I agree with your assessment that it is bad. However, I think there are a lot of chat saying, you know, Mage ADCs building it feels really strong. I haven't done any testing on that.
I haven't either.
I mean, 12% mitigation seems pretty good for just hitting 3 basics. I mean, it's a low power item, but you want to talk about survivability. I think there's probably a way where you stop building like Lifesteal as your survivability and build Stone of Fall instead, and then get to stack more power elsewhere in your build to make up for it. That's something that I would be interested in testing. Bruiser Alquang, like solo Alquang with this item seems very strong to me. I think Athena, after her changes, already really good. I haven't tested if reach hitting multiple gods will give you multiple stacks, but that's a god that is going to end up using this really well if that's the case. And even if it doesn't, like you can proc reach on gods 3 times in a fight easily. And getting that much mitigation is very strong. So I think it's a little too early to tell for me. I would say this item is niche, and I could very much see a world where stacking this item with other items or on certain gods yields a very overpowered result, but only in that situation.
Yeah, I think also on mage ADCs, if you're going into a team fight with the idea, or like, it's weird because mage ADCs sometimes need a survivability item. I'm not sure if that's the case in this meta right now.
Yeah. Because
there's always that meta of like warlocks on mage ADCs or lifesteal, which is kind of your survivability on mage ADCs.
Right.
I don't know if that's the current meta or if you need the full power, full burst. I would have to do a lot of testing on that, but I don't think that's a Freya item. Maybe a Chronos item if you're being weird. Probably an Oleron item for sure. Yeah, and probably not a soul item.
What makes you say I agree. Freya, I agree, because you only have a certain amount of DPS window on that character.
Yeah, so say you got like 4 items you have to get on Freya.
Right, like Freya makes sense to me that you wouldn't want it there. Kronos leverages scaling better than the other magical ADCs, so I would understand wanting a higher magical power item there for him. And the reason for that, by the way, is because his magical power goes into his auto attacks with a 2, and his 1 and 3 actually deal relevant damage. Olaron, I agree that it looks very good for him on paper because he already has sustain built into the kit, and you get a massive DPS increase when you're in your ult either way, so you can afford to go, I mean, like the Twig Relic Dagger build that he was going, you can kind of afford to do that. What makes, I'm surprised to hear you say not a soul item though, because I think that soul is a character that might be able to get away with this.
I feel like on soul you just want as much damage as you can get in your kit, and I don't know if there was, just because we were talking about it earlier, I would say a Tsukiyomi on the enemy team that I could play around the mitigation on him during a team fight and kind of prevent his damage, like get the stacks going before, and then right as he hits me, I do the 3rd stack and try to play around that way. I would do that. But if the team fights are very inconsistent damage, like I don't know exactly when I'm going to get bursted or exactly when I'll be dove, then I don't think I would get that item on soul, and I would play more of a like burst mage style, I think. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I've always wanted soul to be more of a mage than a mage ADC, because I think the way her 2-4, the BaRRaCCuDDa combo as they call it, the way that those two feels really good to me, but you know me, I'm not trying to hit my autos all the time.
But soul auto attacks don't feel great anyway, sorry.
Well, they used to feel really good. They had to get nerfed a couple of times. I think that a little bit of power went back into those, but at some point last year, but probably not enough. I don't know. I just think that, I guess it's in a world where soul is good enough because her passive is good enough. And if her passive is good enough, I think you probably could get away with an item like this because you get so much damage from that passive either way. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's something to be worth testing. You can check out twitch.tv/BaRRaCCuDDa with 2 R's, 2 C's, 2 D's, and he's gonna be testing that sometime this week. I can probably.
Or just twitch.tv/2 R's, 2 C's, 2 D's.
Right, because it automatically links you there. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Also, one last touch. I think it's a little bit too expensive.
Yeah, 2,500 is pretty expensive. But I mean, it's not that expensive, but for supports, it is kind of expensive. I would say. Yeah,
and also for mages, for like a utility item, 2,500 is kind of hard. Like Relic Dagger is easier to fit in your build,
sure, because
it's cheaper. But for Snowfall, 2,500 is like, well, why not just go like a Deso there instead?
Yes, agreed. All right, Mail of Renewal, the other new item this patch: 2,400 gold, 300 health, 15 HP 5, and then 20 of each protection of physical and magical. And this passive is a bit of a doozy. So here we go. I'm assuming I'm explaining how this works to BaRRaCCuDDa right now. When you are hit by enemy god, you gain a stack up to once per second, increasing your protections by 4. At max of 5 stacks, they last for 5 seconds each. At max stacks, upon being hit, you are immediately healed for 15% of your maximum health. Allies within 35 units heal for 15% of their maximum health over 20 seconds, and this has an ICD or an internal cooldown of 60 seconds, so it can only happen once per minute. So let me explain like your 5. Every time you get hit, you're gonna up your protections. At max stacks, I'm doing math live on the air. It's easy math, but we're gonna do it. Whenever you've got 40 of each protection, that's what you'll have at the very max. Is you'll have 80 prots total across the passive and the base stats.
80.
Did I do it? Yeah, 80 because it's 40. You'll have 40 physical and 40 magical.
Oh, I thought
not 80 of each.
I was like, good lord, where am I misreading this?
No, you made me panic for a second there, man.
I was panicking, dude. 80 prots on. Okay, continue. Sorry.
I know. So you'll get 20 stacks from the passive of each protection. Once you are at that stack limit, if you get hit again, you then will instantly heal for 15% of your max health as a burst heal. And then a slow heal will begin on your teammates around you. That's the game plan. I've seen a lot of Mail of Renewal in games. It has not felt as impactful as I thought it would. It doesn't mean it's not good. I think it probably is pretty good, but the numbers jumped off the page for me on this item, and it hasn't felt that way quite yet to me, at least in my experience.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be super OP, and then Jake talked about it, and Jake said it was bad, and then PBM talked about it, and PBM said it was bad, and I was like, okay, I will just take y'all's opinion for this, because I think it looks good, but I meant to ask, do the prots stay after the proc, or how do the prots work?
That is a good question to which I do not have the answer. Based on the wording, I would guess no. I would guess that it consumes the stacks, and then heals you.
That's what I would assume as well.
Chad is telling us that you do not keep the stacks.
I think the AoE on it is a little small.
Yeah, I think 35 units.
Yeah, that is kind of. I think it's the same size as like meditation. I think.
No, med is definitely bigger. I don't know exactly how big med is, but.
Oh, there's one relic. There was one relic that I thought was the exact same size, but I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it was Shell.
Oh no, you're right. Med is 35 units.
Oh. That's
well
weird
done,
for me to be right on the podcast.
Yeah, bit of an odd one.
That was a weird feeling.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I just agree with you. I feel like on paper it sounds really cool, and I was thinking like maybe me and Vin slam this together in the back line, you know, both getting our procs, but I just feel like maybe in actuality, you know, in a real game, it's not that great.
No, I would not. If you and Ven both built that, and I was casting that game, I would not be very kind about my thoughts about it. That's what I'd say.
Also, I think the 20 seconds is a bit long. Maybe lower that to like 10 seconds.
Yes, I agree with that. I would like to see that number be lower.
I mean, I assume you're trying to heal backliners with this, but even still, if you're trying to time your teammates being around you to proc your mail renewal proc on them, they have to be kind of close with the mail or with the 35 units, and that's weird to time in a real team fight. Yeah, I just feel like it's too weird.
Yeah.
To buy and like play around. Because it's a very team-oriented item, I feel. But 20 seconds is way too long, 6 seconds is way too long, and 35 units is way too small. That's my closing opinion.
There you have it. That's all it needs to change for mail of renewal. Nearly everything. I do think it's pretty close to being really good. And it is, I think it has a chance of being frustrating, and so releasing it in this fashion makes a ton of sense to me. Because if this came out and everyone was buying it, I think everyone would be quite upset. All right, attack speed item changes. This actually impacts you. Players may only have one attack speed slow from items applied to them at a time. So things like Ichabod, Mannequins, Midgardian, Witchblade, Frostbound, you only have the strongest one on you at any given time. And that was kind of meta for a little bit at the beginning of Season 8, was just stacking all these attack speed slow items, like going Witchblade and Mannequins and Frostbound, and it's like, well, now I literally can't auto attack anybody. Pretty cut and dry, good change in my mind.
Yeah, good change, weird change, because there's so many in the game, and I think a lot of builds were building multiple ones. And good paths as well in those builds that felt good. I think now it's a little weird, or people would have to find different paths to go down. I think it's good, obviously, because I'm a Hunter player, but don't know if necessary.
I would say
but
that
maybe necessary.
I don't think it works this way, but I would want Horrific Emblem to ignore this rule.
Oh, does it not?
I don't know if it does or not.
Wait, what's it say? Does it say from items or just from everything?
Attack speed slow should not stack with other attack speed slow effects, but many items. So... Oh, no. Attack speed slow from items applied to them at one time.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would assume it does based on that wording, and that's the way I think it should work.
Okay, agreed.
Horrific is broken, by the way. If you're not buying it a decent amount of the time, you're probably messing up.
I don't think I've ever bought Horrific. I always go Blink Sunder.
Dude, Horrific is broken on Xingqian. It's like, look at it this way, Barry. They've got an auto attack assassin, right? Or an auto, double hunter or whatever. You Furious Roar them. That's your one. You reduce their auto attack damage.
You're such a caster.
I know. You won them. Their auto attack damage is reduced. You wait for it to wear off. You horrific them. You wait for that to wear off. Your one's back up. You won them again. What do they do in that whole team fight, huh? Crying.
Normally I would just won them and like knock them up.
All right. Then they beads it.
Or like ult them.
And then you horrific them.
Oh.
Because your ult's down in this hypothetical scenario.
Oh. Oh.
You got your ult first earlier. Remember, you tried to invade. You tried to get a deep ward. You had to ult out. Like, it was a bit unlucky.
Me out of position on a support?
No, I mean.
No way. I think I'd just rather have Blinker Sunder.
No, man. Horrific's broken. You heard it here first.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's all good.
My bad.
Benevolence. Another. Did I skip over one? No, I didn't. It's a little bit down. But this is kind of paired in my mind with Sentinel's Gift, going from 500 to 600 gold. So a nerf for that item, well deserved. Benevolence, increased health from 75 to 100, increased gold per 5 from 2 to 3, and this is important. Item now has a minimum bonus gold and bonus XP value of 1. So no matter what, you're getting at least that extra gold and experience. I think that Benevolence now does compete with Sentinels much better than before.
Agreed.
I don't know if it's going to be the play. I'm not a math guy, as you guys couldn't tell by the fact that I was scared to do 5 times 4. But we got there.
We would need like a flare boot here to really break it down and see how much gold and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera it's actually worth like per minute to see if it's actually good. But I mean on paper, +2 to +3, like that's a big change.
That's a big change. And like all those little mini +1s for all for like all the little harpies that you're splitting and all that kind of stuff, like that adds up pretty quickly.
I think it is worth it to buy it and test it now, whereas before there was really zero reason to ever buy that item. Agreed.
Holy cow, we've been live for 45 minutes. Barry, have we been trolling this whole time? This podcast has been live for nearly 42 minutes at this point.
I think it's well. I kind of took it as in like I was gonna argue with you a lot today, but I kind of argue with you a lot too much, and we kind of didn't go for the patch notes.
Well, that's just unlucky. All right, we're gonna speed run. Oh no, actually, we're gonna take a quick ad break, and then we're gonna speed run the rest of the patch notes because I can't forget to take the ad. So we'll be right back here on the Backliner's smooth transition. Less smooth.
Ignition Casino, your go-to destination for the best online poker, table games, progressive slots, and much more. Sign up with the promo code Ignition777 and deposit using Bitcoin to get 25 free spins on 777 Deluxe.
I wish you guys could have seen Barry trying really hard not to laugh during that ad because he knows his mic has to be live. It was it was very cute. It was very well done.
I just missed the timing on not smooth. I might go back and watch that.
Okay. Unlucky.
Speed run.
Mannequin Scepter, better but bugged, so I can't tell if it's good. Eye of the Jungle, really good now. I'm buying it a ton in the jungle.
What was the change?
Increased magical power from 20 to 25. While in the jungle, you gained 15 HP 5 and 10 MP 5. Yep. Decrease the normal HP 5, and then decrease the attack speed to de-incentivize stupid hunters from abusing it as per usual.
Yep.
Though Protector of the Jungle did get nerfed. Decreased physical power from 65 to 55, and magical power from 100 to 80, and decreased the attack speed from 35% to 25%. All good changes. Sands of Time buff, decreased the cost by 50 from 800 to 750. That matters a lot because it's an extra potion. And increased the MP5 from 5 to 10. Sands of Time, much better. Conduit Gem, I've liked less and less the more I've played with it. And when I do buy it, I'm only buying it on gods that I could abuse Gem of Focus on, because I think Archmages is significantly worse now. Too many people still buy it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Gem of Focus is the wave. That's what you should be doing. Like Nika was buying... Was it Nika? You gotta make sure I'm roasting the right guy. Yeah, it was Nika. He bought Archmage's Gem on Chang'e instead of Gem of Focus. Gem of Focus is broken on that character. Like,
true.
9% damage increase, 9% movement speed increase, decreased damage taken. Like, and you're spamming buttons on that god. He's trolling.
Maybe Archmage is better for your your ult one shot.
That's what what he said, Barry. But you're doing that either way. Like if that mage or ADC doesn't have relics, they're dead to your blink one shot anyways, right?
True. Like, do you actually need the extra damage?
You sure don't. You sure don't.
Oh.
Tainted Steel, decreased cost from 750 to 700, increased power from 10 to 15 for physical and 15 to 20 for magical. Little worried that Tainted Steel is getting pretty good.
Yeah.
And it might start just getting bought because it's good.
It's kind of one of those things that just like keeps getting buffed and keeps getting buffed, and then it's thrown in the meta and everyone buys it.
Yep, agreed. I think we're approaching that, and hopefully not there quite yet. Death's Toll. Here's an interesting shift, and I am curious on this one from you. Decreased cost by 100, 750 to 650, but also decreased the health restore scaling, again, not a heal, but 0.75% to 0.4% of your maximum health, 1.5% to 1% of your maximum mana, but increased the power from 10 to 15, 20 to 25 for magicals, and no longer heals off of towers and phoenixes. How do you think this, because it's a shift, right? It's a lot less sustain, but more power, a little bit cheaper.
I'm a big Leather Cowl fan right now.
Oh, yeah?
Over Destal. I was a big Destal fan, and then once it got nerfed, I'm just a Cowl boy right now.
Cowl is the way to go, potentially. Death's Embrace also no longer heals off towers and phoenixes, and decreases health and mana. Yes, agreed.
It should have never done that to begin with.
Yeah, it is. I will say that it's not. It wasn't a bug. It was consistent in that way. On hit effects, only they don't check if you did any damage. They don't check what you did the damage to. It's if you're auto connected with a legal target, restore this. And so it was consistent. I think making it inconsistent is just better for the health of the game, though. Personally. Vampiric Shroud decreased cost by 100, which is a massive change. 850 to 750. And decreased health restore from 6 health to 4 health. Decreased physical protection from 15 to 10. And increased magical power from 15 to 25. This item just got so much better. So much better.
Agreed.
Haven't tested it enough yet, though.
Before it was a little garbage, and now it's viable. Same with Benevolence, in my
Agreed.
opinion. Same like shift.
Agreed. Both War Flag and War Banner buff duration goes from 8 to 10. Feels good. Don't know if that really makes the world of difference.
I think we'll have to see a lot of offensive lanes in SPL/scrims and all of that, and see people buying War Flag and experimenting with it to see if that actually makes a difference.
Barry, how come every time we think like, oh man, we've got nothing to talk about in this week's podcast, it goes every time? Like every single time.
I think it's just Are
we too good looking and good at our jobs? Like, is that the problem here?
I'm a very good instigator, and you're very good at talking and being very passionate about several things.
Right.
Like, you can be passionate about nothing and still argue me about it.
Right. The lower the stakes are, the more invested I get. Like, it can't be about anything important. Like, that, it has to be completely irrelevant. That's a key part of my personality.
Also, why is dog water being said now?
Because
is that a Smite thing?
No, I think it started in other esports, but let me ask, I'll answer your question with a question. Do you want to be dog water? Like,
no, I don't.
Right, there you go. That's why it's a thing.
But like, I wouldn't want to be like cow water.
Yeah, but no one like interacts with cow water regularly. You know what I mean?
No one interacts with dog water regularly, I hope.
I mean, you kind of do, right? If you have a dog, you're like watching them drink it. Especially if you have like a bigger dog and one that drools a lot, you like see it kind of drooling into the water, and it's like gross.
Okay, that makes sense.
My dog, of course, too perfect to do that. She's a little cute patootie.
Definitely not a drooler. Not that drooling's a bad thing, but it's just gross.
She drools whenever she's cuddling with you on the couch, and that's cute. Like,
dude,
you know,
Hero started doing that now. Luna was a drooler, and now Hero's a drooler.
Yeah, it's cute.
Like, drooling might be contagious in cats.
Holy cow! Watch out for that.
Sorry, back to patch notes.
Right, back to patch notes. Hachiman decreased the post fire on his ultimate from 0.73 to 0.4 seconds. But
it was way too long the first time.
Does it feel better now?
Way better. It feels... I mean, obviously it's not like it felt before the change at all, but it feels way, way, way better. I said he was unplayable.
Yes.
With the 0.75 or 0.7, whatever it was. And he feels good now. And that's, yeah.
We love that. Set lost the ability to trigger item effects on his second ability spawn of Set. This matters because when he's in his ultimate, this ability will cast automatically as you hit auto attacks. And so you're getting tons of Hydra's or Bumba's Hammer procs. Does this move him, though? He's kind of considered the best god in the game by a lot right now.
I mean, it depends on how much pros view his early game power versus late game power, or people actually buying Hydra's. Some set players don't buy Hydra's. Same for, I would say, like Bumba's. Like, if you're actually hitting that late game spike, is that when Set shines, or is Set shining throughout the game? I do feel like it's obviously a big nerf, but I feel like Set got a slap on the wrist, if anything.
Sure.
Instead of like a really big change.
Mulan, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, she got a massive buff.
Oh, yeah.
Increase the slow duration on her 2 from 2 to 3 seconds. Decrease the cooldown on her 3. It used to be 16 seconds flat. Now it's 16, scaling down to 14. And now you can cancel the ultimate early, the change that everyone has asked for forever. I think Mulan, immediately one of the best warriors in the game.
Yeah, I think she might still suffer in the same way she did, where like her late game is still kind of weak.
Yep.
But, I mean, on paper, obviously, she has to be way better. And also, a 3-second slow at level 1, or whenever you want to level this ability, has to be insane.
Yep, and that ability does a cajillion damage.
Yeah, from a carry perspective, I don't know why everyone's not spamming Mulan. And I just hope they don't start spamming Mulan, because that character is really annoying as a backliner to deal with. Maybe it's the Thorns nerf, because every time you'd ult in, you just pop Thorns.
Yep. Yeah,
maybe that's it.
I think here's maybe I don't tell the whole world, Barry. No, maybe I do.
Well, you already did.
All right, here we go. Chat, listener, valued customer. I've got something to tell you. In Season 8, you can still buy Thorns and have it do something.
Say that.
You can. It got nerfed.
You said that.
You can. But you can still buy it, and it can still be good.
Aggro.
I said it. Okay.
Bro.
I said it.
We were having so much fun.
I know, but it's got to be said.
I was buying crit every game.
Unlucky. All right, we got to keep going, Barry.
True.
Athena got damage on the taunt. She's real good.
She has to be OP now.
Yeah, she's real good.
I do think her support might have not changed that much, but solo and jungle, I think she got a enormous buff.
Potentially the biggest single text buff a god has ever been given. When you think about it this way, don't think of it as now deals 50, 80, 110, 140, 170 plus 30% scaling to the 2. Think of it as we just added 50 to 170 base damage on the first ability you hit. Like, just imagine that that's the buff, and it seems absurd. That's because it probably is. Really good. Horus got some cooldown changes, 16 to 13 on both of his abilities now. 1 and 2 feels pretty good. AMC bugged, so can't really talk about it. Jibalonke.
Good joke there.
Yeah, Jibalonke increased max darts that enemies can be hit by from 3 to 5, and he gets more darts total, 10 to 15. I'm surprised that people aren't talking about it. Have you played Jibalonke at all? I imagine it feels really good.
I was about to say, I haven't played him, so I don't know how good it feels like when you're trying to hit that max range dart, but I mean, obviously on paper, flat buff. I've always thought Jibalonke was insane, so I think you might actually get some play now.
Yeah, I think he's really good. Thor gets 10% more scaling on the final hit of BaRRaCCuDDa Barrage. Good, but nothing wild. Unstable Manifestation, that's Soul's passive. Heat now takes longer before it starts to decay, from 4 seconds to 6 seconds. Haven't played her yet, but that was really annoying to upkeep, so theoretically that feels a lot better.
Haven't played her, but she's still dog water.
Unlucky. And you don't want to be dog water, as we've covered.
No, you do not.
Opwash, passive. Increase the healing from 5% of your max health to 7% of your max health whenever you pick up a corpse, and increase the initial damage scaling on corpse explosion from 10 to 20%. Dirty Bubble Opwash maybe coming back with this?
Yeah, I was about to say, on the 2, is that just without the bodies?
Correct. Correct. Okay. So basically it just adds 10% all the time instead of having to worry about how many corpses you have. It's a much more consistent change.
The ability might do damage now?
Well, no. Not
when
without,
you don't have bodies?
No, not without corpses. It'll never do damage without bodies. No.
Oh, it just never will. In that case, still dog water.
Unlucky. And you, again, don't want to be that. And the final one, Loki, the 3 Flurry Strike increased the scaling from 18% to 25%. Increased scaling total from 160 to 195%. So what? Well, I've seen a lot of Loki in ranked recently. Seems like he's kind of picking up in popularity right now.
Yeah, and I hope he kind of never becomes meta, because I think his kit right now is really annoying as a backliner to play against and play around. And if they can just straight up do more damage with the 3 now, whereas like you're feeling threatened to Aegis it as a carry instead of the ult, you're not loving that.
Yeah, but I agree with all that. But I'd still rather play against this iteration of Loki than the old one.
True. Agreed.
And it personally is not close.
Agreed.
All right, that'll do it for us this week here on the Backliners podcast. Of course, we have to have our random question of the week, which I have not thought of up until this moment.
First question in chat, maybe?
No. Actually, I did have one. One because someone brought it up in chat. I was arguing the other day with Nika because Nika really, 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 along with Hazer, really hates Ed Sheeran. Hates him. I guess the music, but
like not a troll hate. Like
no, he like hates Ed Sheeran. I don't get it. I really don't. Ed Sheeran's not breaking any, he's not breaking any boundaries in the music space. He's not, creating something that no one's ever heard before, but it's not bad. It's like, it's good enough. I don't understand how you could be angry about Ed Sheeran, number one, but
maybe it's like a jealousy thing.
Maybe it is. Ed Sheeran, not exactly, when you think of like rock stars or whatever, he's not like that attractive dude who's going to be like, it's like, oh, it's that guy. Like, maybe they're just mad because Ed Sheeran, like, a little bit awkward looking English guy, is now, like, beloved. Maybe that's it.
I think Ed Sheeran's he's got his thing going for him.
Right, and I'm not offended by it.
He's got his own personality, he's got his own looks, and I'm here for him. I support Ed Sheeran.
I agree. Roll Darl in chat. What's up?
I'm just not a guy that like hates celebrities.
Yeah,
unless they like are really like bad people, I just don't care.
Rolled Darl in chat says, I feel like if you're from the UK like him, or her, excuse me, you're more likely to hate him because it's all we hear. LOL. Hence Hazer's hatred.
Well, maybe you guys should produce better artists and more artists instead of just having Ed Sheeran.
So what I was gonna say was, that makes sense. Oh. You decided to come at a whole country instead.
Well, if their whole country is constantly playing Ed Sheeran, I think it's a country problem.
Okay, understood.
I'm just saying, man. That's a little
what
weird.
I was gonna have the random question of the day was: Are there any artists that a lot of other people like that you don't get it? You're not hearing it.
Okay, I am a boomer, but the mumble rap meta, I was not here for it. I did not understand it.
Yeah.
Both ways, and I just didn't like it. I just thought it was not great. And I know my music taste is people screaming and people yelling.
Yeah.
But that gives me like an emotional release, and I enjoy it. And like if I'm pent up anger wise or anything, it helps me like go through my emotions. If mumble rap helps you go through your emotions or your problems or whatever you got, that's cool.
Sure.
But for me personally, I don't understand it.
I actually have an example from recently. I was going on whenever I was driving back to Pittsburgh for Christmas. I asked Twitter for some music recommendations, and everyone was recommending the new Kid Cudi album at the time. Never been a huge fan, so it's not. Let me make sure it's actually the right artist before I absolutely own them.
You're gonna slam dunk Kid Cudi?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Well, I mean, I'm sure he's not gonna hear it, so who cares? Yeah, it was Kid Cudi's new album. That album wasn't that good, chat. It really wasn't. Not a single song on that album like spoke to me in any way. It was fine. Wow, chat is really upset already. Like, it wasn't that good. It just wasn't.
What was it? Just boring?
Yeah, I none of the songs hooked me. Like, I wasn't angry that I was listening to it. I'm not saying I hated it, but not for a single. I listened to the whole thing, and never again since that day have I thought, oh, I should listen to any song off that album again. I don't know. Did
you like any song on there, or were they all like boring? Or
some of them were better than others, but
okay.
I wasn't listening back. Like that's for sure. I haven't listened to any of them. I'm talking, of course, about Man on the Moon 3.
Okay.
The Chosen. That's the album I'm talking about.
Also, I'm one of those guys where if a song isn't good, the song's not good, regardless of the artist that has produced that song. Like, some people will go into songs or albums and want to enjoy it just because their favorite artist made it.
Sure.
And a lot of people do that, and I am just not here for it. And if it's a bad song, it's a bad song.
Yep.
Or a bad album.
I hear you. One of my favorite bands of all time, brand new. Some of their like more recent music, haven't been feeling it. Also, their lead singer is a horrible person. So you hate to see that.
That's unlucky.
Yeah, you hate that is truly unlucky, by the way. Whenever like an artist or something who makes something that you enjoy turns out to suck, you're like, come on, man, like I can't enjoy this anymore, you know?
Insane Grizz said, okay, Mr. Trefoil.
Okay, what?
Mr. Trefoil.
Mr. Trefoil. I think I still have some left over. F you, chat. I'm going to eat some trefoils.
People are holding this over your
Why are you booing me? I'm right. I think about that quote all the time, and I'm gonna get that tattooed on me at some point. Like that's.
Also, I'm just not a quote guy.
Well, that's just wrong.
Like people that quote SpongeBob, Destiny will quote SpongeBob all day.
I do.
Or like any other movie, and I'm just not here for it. My memory is not good enough to remember quotes of movies, quotes of cartoons. Like I remember like Smite voice lines way more than anything else.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, I'm a huge quote guy. I quote, I think you should leave.
Terrible show.
That's the end of the show, everyone. I can't sit in the same call with BaRRaCCuDDa any longer. He's insulted me to my very core.
It's an awful show.
Don't even say that. Listen to prediction stuff, all that kind of stuff. I don't even want to. I'm muting your mic. Yep. No bye from BaRRaCCuDDa this time, chat. I'm in control here, and I'm ending the show right here. That's it. See you later. My goodness. What an embarrassment.